Good morning.
Goeiemôre.
Let me first hear, how is everybody? It's Easter weekend. Today is, I would say, the non-official first day of Easter weekend. Because a lot of people are only working half day, and I know some people are taking the day off so they could go camping in what seems to be our first cyclone of the year. No, it's not going to be that bad, but presumably the winds are going to rip across the island, and yep, it's going
And a
to
lot
be
of rain.
a lot of rain, and it's going to be windy. Yeah.
Oh, well.
So,
good luck to everyone that's going camping. I
Mm.
know you've got a camp on this weekend.
I've got a camp on this weekend. We're going to Taranaki, myself and the boys and the families, except my family is staying at home because they are afraid of the wet.
No, we're not.
Oh,
We're
no.
expecting a baby, so she can arrive any day now, and I don't want to miss it, so I'm not going
No,
to.
I've arranged that this baby will only come on Wednesday.
And I know that the Kawerau camp is also on this
Camp is
weekend.
also going to be
So
blown out.
everyone that's going there, look after yourselves.
Guys, it's got to be wet. It's got to be
Yeah.
wet. Wherever you go, drive safely, drive through the conditions, as they would say in New Zealand, because it's going to be wet. And remember, if you're towing, if you got that extra amount of kgs on the back of your vehicle needs to go slower because you need to stop, and you take much longer to stop, especially when it's wet. All right. Now, those guys traveling in the wind, think about the caravan swaying, because that's what I'm going to do this afternoon, traveling in the wind. So,
luckily, you'll have a caravan for you.
luckily, I'm having a caravan this time. I'm not going in the swag anymore. So.
Woorde Andre.
Yeah, good morning to everybody. It says good morning, goeiemorgen, good morning everywhere. So, yep.
Okay, so the topic of this morning is when the going gets tough, count your blessings. And we know that that is not always easy.
Yeah. I want to put a disclaimer here. Okay. There's a lot of people that arrive on the island and it's easy going from day one. There's no hiccups. They go to work and they go to play, blah, blah, blah. And life just goes on. But that is a few of them. There's a lot of other people who arrive on this island and life is not going exactly as they have thought it was supposed to be. So it's about these guys that we want to chat this morning. And I mean, I think our own experience have taught us that anything is possible. So,
and first of all, we just want to say we're not judging anyone.
I would never judge anyone.
No.
Not in this instance.
Immigration is not for everyone. So no judgment whatsoever. It's just putting a little bit of motivation out there. Things that you can think about when things are really tough.
And let's be frank. When we started off in New Zealand, life was really tough. To be quite frank, life was really tough. I had the situation where I was basically despised by my other advisors. I got heaps of flack from them for being the new guy. Except the fact that before we even came, I had to have a heart operation. I mean, that is any curveball that you can think of was thrown to us, and I think we are the test of time. I think we have seen what we can do, and I think we have shown our strengths. Is that the right word? Our strengths in immigration, and I can tell you something. If you have already immigrated, you're probably one of the strongest people that I know.
Yeah,
to be quite frank. If you have already immigrated, you're probably one of the strongest people that I know. If you have brought your wife and family all over without them kicking and screaming, they are all the strongest people that I know.
Yeah, a woman that immigrated is the one of the bravest people on earth.
I want to also put it a bit in a different perspective.
Yes.
From a man's view.
Yeah.
From a man's view. Women are probably part of the reason why we immigrate. Okay. So if it wasn't for your species, which I reckon is different than a man.
Oh, definitely. in a very
first
good
time
way.
she acknowledges me. So
yeah.
We as men started immigrating not long after we arrived in the Cape. We went over the Drakensberg, blah, 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 through the Free State of all places.
Okay.
But it was due to women.
Yeah.
It was due to women. So, all right, what are we talking about?
Okay, so we are taking a few scenarios and then just trying to see the bright side of things. And if you've got anything to add, please comment on that, even afterwards. Just if you want to share your story, you can post it on Facebook, please. There's a lot of people that's really going through a hard time and throwing in the towel way too early, I think. I know it's difficult, but yeah.
And I tell you the hardest story I've heard so far.
Yeah.
All right. Last week, I met with somebody, and this week I met again with him. He arrived in New Zealand. He had very little money. He could afford a vehicle on an HPO high purchase. He bought this vehicle. It was one of these van types of things that the tradies drive around with, an older type of vehicle. And this guy made a bed up in the back of this vehicle because he knew he didn't have enough money to bring over his wife and all the kids. He knew he had to save as much money as possible. And he went and lived in this van for 5 months.
Oh, wow.
So I took a bit of time this week and spoke to him again regarding this and said, where have you stayed? At night, he would drive around until he became quiet, or sit somewhere until he became quiet. Then he would drive to the BP.
Come on, Will, it's making me sad.
Sleeping at the back of the BP. And this is how he saved money to get his family here. And he said to me, Jan, it's very expensive, this country, but it's so worth it. And it's these, this is, 5 months in the van.
Is he a tradie?
No, he's a mechanic, actually.
Oh, okay.
He's really a mechanic. Absolutely a great guy.
Yeah.
Absolutely great guy. And I mean, to give up his normal day-to-day living just to see that his family can get out here, that is dedication. I mean, goodness me, this was one of the stories that my mouth was actually hanging open.
Yeah, it's making me sad. And then how long did it take for his family to join him?
5 months.
5 months.
Yeah, he had to save for 5 months, and like you said, he could work a lot of hours extra. So the boss was good for him there on that side, but it took a heck of a lot of dedication just to get his family over here.
It is all about dedication.
Yeah,
and I don't want to sound harsh, but it shows character.
It shows a lot of character. I mean, it actually, when I spoke to him, it spoke to me about his love for his family.
Yes. And his dedication to get them out of a situation that he doesn't want them to be in.
And to do it as quickly as possible.
I think whenever it's really going tough, remember why you made the decision to immigrate. Like Benedine saying there, for them it was about the kids.
Yeah.
So whenever it's really getting tough and you just want to throw in the towel, remember why you did it. This is going to sound harsh again, but I think it's a little bit selfish if you give yourself a month and then decide, no, this is not for you.
Oh, yeah.
Then you're definitely not thinking about your family.
I haven't thought it through at all.
Then you're definitely just thinking about yourself.
Yeah.
I know of a lot of people that after a month, their container hasn't even landed in New Zealand and they're already on their way back. You haven't given it a chance. And then they will say, no, they're struggling to make friends. They're not fitting in. They're not adjusting. It takes, and we said this like 1,000 times, it takes about 2 years to just find your feet in any new country, not only in New Zealand, anywhere that you go. It takes about 18 months to 2 years to just find yourself again. You can't give up after just 1 month.
No.
And I know there's not a support system. You knew that before you immigrated, didn't you? Or didn't you do your homework? But you think about this stuff before you immigrate. Otherwise, you did it very impulsively, and that's definitely not the right way to do it.
No.
Your mind has to be at the right place, and you have to do your homework, and you have to know things are not going to be easy sometimes.
Tom Moulton just saying, I know many like this who are freedom camping, living as nomads, house sitting. We have a tiny cottage now, though many are in the RV, buses and vans, whatever way around to get to New Zealand, whatever way around to stick here.
Yeah.
That is the tough one. The tough one is not coming. Yeah, it's tough as well, but it's tough to stick and to know you are struggling for a while.
Yeah. If you think that the hardest part of immigration is getting on that plane.
No, it's getting off the plane.
It's getting off that
and
plane.
Staying off that bloody plane.
And listen, we know that it's really tough.
Yeah.
We've heard horrible stories. And people that's really struggling at work, struggling with the people that they work, struggling to kind of adapt to the way that the people are working. It's totally different from what you are used to. And maybe your job is not what you thought it was going to be, but remember why you came. And you don't have to stick to that job forever and ever.
It's school fees. You got to get in.
It's not forever.
Yeah.
Get your residence. You can even change jobs while you're on a visitor's visa. On a working visa. It's going to be a little bit more difficult, but it's doable. So don't just give up and try to adapt. I know it's difficult for some people. You sit in your ways and you work a certain way and you struggle to get around people not doing it the way that you do it. But please just try. Don't just give up.
I just want to read this. Lena van Lochenberg saying, it's all worth it. I want a safe place for my kids and grandkids to come to. I miss them every day, but there is a bigger plan that pulls me through daily. That was basically our plan as well. And it took us 7 years.
Yeah.
And our last kids have arrived. We are everybody in New Zealand, but it took a while. It didn't happen in one day. So,
no, it doesn't happen overnight. And I mean, you are going to be lonely. You are going to struggle to find your tribe.
Yep.
You are going to experience hardship emotionally and financially. This is just part of immigrating. And it is nothing to do with New Zealand. Yes, New Zealand is expensive, but this can be any country in the world.
I just wanted to say that as well. It's not only because you are now in New Zealand.
No.
It would have been better in Aussie or in England or wherever else. They also talk crap English and you struggle to understand them and so forth.
Yeah. And maybe you land in a small town where there's really not a lot of South Africans that can support you, and you really struggle to get into the society. And I know the Kiwis have a different view to
the world.
I know, yeah. They are not as warm as we are. So they will talk to you, very nice people, when you see them and when you talk to them, but they are not as inviting as the South Africans. So you're not going to be invited to a braai the first day that you meet these people. It's going to take a while. It will probably never happen, but you have to find your own peace.
Yeah.
Make time for your family.
We've been living in this, what they call a security estate, believe it or not. But we've been living here for 3 years now, and I have been promised by everybody around, we'll get you over for drinks. It's been 3 years.
Happened. No, it doesn't happen. Does it bother us?
They probably forgot where we're living.
No, I mean, they need someone to tow the caravan, and if they need someone to
carry this
whatever, then then they'll come. But it doesn't bother us. We've got our own lives. And we are content with what we've got and with where we are, with who we are, and with the people in our lives.
And I want to put it out there. If you look at us today, hopefully you'll see that we're content and we're loving the place, blah, blah, blah. I hope all the good things shines through. But just remember, always think back. When we arrived here, the first 6 months was terrible. We had friends and we had to let them go. They were not good friends. And then thereafter after about 6 months, we made other friends. That is still friends today.
Yeah.
It's really still dear to my heart. But it took us at least 6 months just to get into a space where we started meeting normal people. And that took a while for us to be. I was happy from the beginning because this is where I wanted to be. But for me to see happiness in her, that took a while. Today, I can tell you, she's 10 times more happy here than she was ever in South Africa.
Yeah.
10
and
times.
I know people are going to say now, yeah, but you've got your whole family here. We didn't in the
Not
beginning.
in the beginning.
It was really hard. I had
no grandkids here.
My daughter was there. Well, my oldest son was there. It was tough. It took 5 years for one of them to come over. Yes, we brought Zan with us, which was lovely. It was good to have one of them here, but it was tough.
Yeah.
And listen to this one. I'm going to read it in Afrikaans now.
I'm going to read it in English.
Wou teruggaan binne die eerste maand. Danksy COVID kon ek dit nie doen nie. So, baie gehuil oor die bekende. Ek en Willie die week gepraat oor hoe moeilik dit was op ons ouderdom, maar teruggaan sal ons nooit. Tel jou seëninge elke dag. Dit raak beter. Nie maklik, maar dis die moeite werd. En sterk aan elkeen wat
in English they're saying it gets better.
Yeah.
It's not easy, but it's worth it.
Yeah. Karen is saying, if you arrive with low expectations, you will truly appreciate all the good things around you. I also think you need to adapt to the country and its people, but never compare it with South Africa. It's all about a positive mindset and making sure you create a good support network. And that only you can do.
Yeah.
No one can do that for you.
Well, Rian is just basically saying what Karen is saying. If you had an easy life in South Africa, adapting and navigating changes and challenges in New Zealand will be more difficult.
It's very easy to sit down and think, oh my word, I'm struggling at work. I don't understand the people. I don't get how they work. I don't want to do this. It was way much better in South Africa. I was better off in South Africa. I had everything going for me. So it's really easy to just turn around and say, I'm done. I'm leaving.
Yeah. Andre Snyman just saying most difficult, but also the best decision we made. It was difficult, not easy at all for the first 2 years. Why don't you just read that, Ilona van Lochenburg?
We have been here for 1.5 years and I have one couple as friends, but we're friends in South Africa. Be happy in your own zone. Be happy in your own zone. I love that.
So after 1.5 years, only still one group of good friends, but they're happy with that.
Yeah. And even if you don't have any friends.
Yeah.
It's hard enough coming over with your family. So I think to take time and just settle in yourself and your wife and your children if you've got kids, and just adapt to the country and then start reaching out to people.
Yeah. Nicolette and Lucas Skippers, people who made big strides in this country, just saying good morning. Always remind yourself why you've made the decision in the first place. Always remind yourself why you made the decision in the first place. Yep. We sometimes tend to forget that.
Have faith and count the small blessings every day. That's why our topic is, when the going gets tough, count your blessings. There are so many people that would give anything to get out of South Africa, to get a safer country for themselves and for their kids. That's the most important to live in. And then yet there are some people that's here, they had the opportunity and they're not making the most of that opportunity. And you've got this one chance. You're probably not going to get that chance again.
Okay. In that note, let's do this.
Okay.
I'm the one that did the rock.
All right, it's time for the boat draw. If I can get all my ducks in a row. Let's test our random number generator. It's working and we're going to click it and it's running. Number 164. Please write that down for us. 164.
You sound like that Powerball.
I feel like the Powerball guy this morning. Number 164 is John Fraser. All right. So we've got that number 164. Have you written that down for me?
Yes.
So let's do the second draw. And this draw is for a participant in our Give a Cabin Away on a Cruise. Number 170. That'll be Izan Silva. All right. You've got that. So good luck to those two. You're going through to the finals. And I think we've chosen 6 or 8 people already to go through to the finals.
Yeah.
And somewhere along the line, we're taking 2 couples on a boat cruise.
And that is May next year. It's not this year.
May next year, not.
So, ladies, you still have time to work on that bikini bod.
Are you going to?
I'll have to. For everyone that's wondering what's going on with my face, because I can see that it looks really funny on here. I have a gland here by my ear that's swollen since Sunday. And yesterday it was like this side of my face was swollen. So I went to the doctor and I got some antibiotics and it's already getting smaller. So I don't have a skew face.
And it's not my fault.
It's really sore. Yesterday I couldn't even open my mouth to eat, which is not a bad thing if I want to work on my bikini
tan, yeah. So I'm just saying thanks for the reminder why we made this move. So insightful. Yeah, guys, we should never forget why we did it in the very, very first place.
And let's give you some blessings. Let's give you some blessings that you can, if you can just write them down, put them on your fridge, whatever. If you're feeling down and you're feeling you just want to leave, just think about this. God gave you the opportunity to get out of South Africa. Because you're probably here because you didn't want to be in South Africa anymore. Yeah. If you didn't want to immigrate, you wouldn't have. So you got the opportunity to immigrate. You are surrounded by other immigrants. The whole island is full of immigrants that all went through the same thing as you. They are all struggling. Most of them are struggling more than you are. Yeah. Remember that. You are in one of the most beautiful countries that exists. I really think, and we had friends over the last month from South Africa that has traveled the whole world. They have been everywhere. New Zealand wasn't even on their radar to visit. They wouldn't have come if it wasn't for us. So we were very fortunate to have them here. And they said this would be the very first country on their list if they ever wanted to move anywhere else. Because it is so beautiful. There are so many free stuff to do. You don't have to pay to see a lot of things. You can go to the snow. You can see waterfalls. You can go hiking. You can go picnicking. All for free. All safe. Yep. Your kids are safe. They can walk to school even if they're 6 years old. You can send them. My grandkids now love going to the post box to get the post. You can send them. You don't have to walk behind them to see that they're safe. You yourself are safe. I never, ever lock my doors. Never, ever. He's the one that's paranoid.
Fortunately, she never locks her doors.
Sometimes I don't even have a key to come in, and when it's locked, I can't get in. So
it happened yesterday. I promise you, it really happened yesterday. They phoned me at the client. I picked up the phone and said, I didn't have a key. I said, just go around the back door.
That is just how safe I feel. And for me, and I know it's not for everyone, for me, it happened instantly. It's like when I stepped out of that plane, it was like this feeling of I am safe, I'm protected, I can just live my life. It's like that feeling just overwhelmed me, and I've never been scared. Jan can go away for a week and I can stay alone and it doesn't bother me at all. I don't think I'd even wonder if the doors are locked. It's probably not good to open your doors, but you can do it.
You don't need to be.
You don't need to.
No.
Yeah.
I was just thinking the other day, I went into the restaurant, I was waiting for somebody. I put down a laptop that cost nearly $2,000. Put it down as to keep my place. This was an open restaurant. People could walk through and take anything. Yeah. I wasn't even worried about that. So. And
the one thing that what I want to say to the people with small children, maybe you're really struggling and you can't see your way staying in New Zealand. The thought of your kids not growing up with the feeling of fear nestled inside them. Isn't that one of the most
wonderful things
that you can give your kid? Yeah. We all grew up without fear. We did. But it changed. Our children grew up with fear, always being fearful, learning about where to hide when you hear something, locking the doors, living behind gates in your house. I mean, you've got gates in your hallway.
And even in the 80s, let's go back to South Africa.
Yes.
This just came back to me now. Even in the 80s in school, we were learned how to operate if there was a terrorist attack.
Mm-hmm.
We learned how to fall behind your desk, all this type of stuff.
That is fear nestled inside you. Yeah. And I was so afraid. Since I was like 10 years old, I was so afraid. I wouldn't walk alone at night, not even in the house. So that was how scared I was. So to have a child not knowing what it feels like to be fearful, it must be the most wonderful feeling to grow up not being afraid.
Yeah.
So even if that is your own reason for sticking it out, just give it a chance. Don't give up so easy.
No. In summary,
yes,
I want to read what Brian wrote. Little boys and girls playing in the street after school is a wake-up call every day why we are here.
It actually makes me tearful.
Yeah. I promise you the first 2 months, when we just moved here, I saw the little kids walk past with a little push scooter and the bag on the back. And I was always outside the place and checking, are they okay?
It felt like we wanted to drive behind them just to make sure that they
I would stand outside and
safe.
watch where the kids are going. Everybody probably think I'm crazy or something like that, but I was just thinking these kids are going to disappear now.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah.
No, I'm just, again, I'm just overwhelmed by how fortunate we are.
And I mean, you got to adapt to the country. The country's not going to adapt to you. You got to adapt to the Kiwi way. The Kiwis aren't going to adapt to your ways.
Yes, I'm tearful.
Oh no, you should not.
My goodness, but this is happy tears.
Okay.
This is just
thankfulness.
Yeah.
A lot of other people saying they never locked their doors. They over 5 years been here. Friends just come and go.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys. On that note, it's Easter.
Yeah.
I want to wish you all the best for Easter, and wherever you go, if it's crappy and rainy, still be thankful that you could be out there.
And drive safe.
Drive safe,
if
guys.
you're driving,
going to be slippery.
Have a lovely time. Remember what it's all about.
Okay. All right. That's us. Until next week, same time, same place.
Bye.
Bye.